Good morning. I am Christopher Brandon with the Cooperative Information Network in the Coeur d'Alene Public Library.
And I'm George Williams. I'm the Next Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System in Lawrence, Kansas.
And today we are going to be talking about reports, not working with reports specifically, but a few things to tweak your reports environment, navigating to reports, and also some things that you can do to make that experience a little bit better and easier to work in. As always, we are hosted by koha-US. You can get to the koha-US website at koha-us.org, and you will always find our videos on the Learn page under Watch Koha-US Original Training Videos. And before we get started, I just wanted to mention I just attended, just before we started recording here, a wonderful presentation by Olivia Hatton Edwards. She did a presentation in Florida. It's hosted by Bywater. It was called a Koha Experience, all about reports. Just wanted to give her a shout out and let her know that was a great presentation. And if they post the video, please check it out. It was really informative about reports. In fact, some work that I did that was based off of your work, George, about modifying the reports to look different was talked about in there. I did some code and did a presentation in the last Koha-US conference that was based off of a presentation that you did in one of our videos earlier on for the dashboard. So everything is kind of making its way through the videos.
I'll have to look for that too. I'm interested in that. I didn't get a chance to attend that.
So let's take a look at, let's start here. Okay. So one of the things that has irked me with Koha in working with reports for the longest time is that if you click on the reports tab, the place that I work the most, I don't know about you, the place I work the most is the saved reports, and it's kind of buried in here. It's lost in all these links. And so I have to click on reports, and then I have to click on use saved, and then it takes me to the reports page. And I would rather just be able to click on the reports button and have it take me right here. It's like I'm clicking a few buttons to go to the same place every time. So one of the things that I did was I wrote a piece of code, and I'm going to navigate around a little bit. There it is. Okay. So I've got this line here that reassigns the button on that main page, and it's identified as an anchor button called icon reports, or with a class of icon reports. I identified that, and I changed the reference to what it's clicking to actually go to this page. So the guided reports. So, or not guided reports,
Saved reports.
Saved reports. Well, it calls it guided reports, but it is.
Yeah, the page name doesn't match the title of the page.
Right. Yeah, it's got this phase use saved. Interesting link, but anyways, I've changed that, and so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back to the main page. Now if I click on the reports button and give it a second here, boom, takes me right to this page. So I don't have to navigate through a few clicks to get here. One of the drawbacks to having this shortcut, though, is if I go back to that, and I don't touch this link up here. So if you ever want to go back to that original page, if you just go up to more and reports, it'll take you to the original landing spot that the reports button took you to. But one of the things that you are missing on that page is all of these links, all these helpful links that you might want to get to. And if you do want to just leave this link alone, you can always get there this way, but it just makes getting to all this stuff a little bit more cumbersome if you're just landing on the used saved page. So what I've done is I decided I was going to take all those links and modify the menu over on the left, so it includes all of that information. So now,
Right.
I'm going to go over here, and I've got one more line up above. It's a beefy line, but it's basically replicating all of those links on that page and putting them over in that menu. So I'm not going to go into detail about this, but basically all those links moved over to that left menu. So save that. Now let's go back here and we'll click on the reports page. That page will load in just a second. And now I've got all those links over here on the left, and it's taking me straight to this page.
Yeah, the reason that I don't have that icon on the home page go directly to saved reports is because we use the, I don't remember the name of the system preference, but we have a big HTML box that appears on that main reports page. I think it's, if you do a search in the system preferences for report HTML, you find it, and then you can put like an HTML box down there at the bottom of that page, like on the circulation page or intranet user main, I think is the name of the intranet one. That goes, yeah, intranet reports home HTML allows you to put a bunch of HTML on that home page, and I have a bunch of stuff there that I want staff to look at. So that's the reason that I don't redirect from there. But you're giving me an idea. I do tell people all the time, go to reports and then click on use saved reports. It probably wouldn't hurt me to make that button bigger, which I could easily do. But the way you've got it for what you need at your library, that seems to work great.
Another option too is, some of those things you could add over in this menu if you want. You could put your most important things. I put everything over here, but you could easily just tweak this to be the menus that people use the most. And if they really need to get to something that isn't used all that often, they could navigate to the original reports page.
Yeah.
Find it.
Yeah, I think the stuff I have there is, well, I could, if I can share my screen. So if I go to reports, down here, I've got these tabs I've got some reports for missing in transit, some information and reports about auto deletion. And I've got something that'll be very important for our libraries coming up soon. I've got a tab here with all of our prior year statistics. So a lot of times I will tell them, tell staff, go to the report, click on reports and scroll down and click on the auto deletion tab. And that's where you'll find the information that you want. So that's why I direct people to go there, is because I've got some reports with some instructions.
Very fancy, especially with all the tabs.
But I'm thinking, finding a way to make this use saved button more prominent might not be a bad thing for them, because that is something that I tell them all the time. Go to the reports page and click on the link that says use saved reports. And so I could make that more prominent, maybe make it the top choice in that list of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Since this video is so short, we're going to pack this with a couple more items here. So another thing that I wanted to do was to improve the printability of a report. Back in the day, when you tried to print reports, we've had various issues with sidebars and menus and all sorts of things showing up when you run a report and try to print the results. Let me just run something short here. And so they've done some cleanup over the years, but there are a few things that still show up that you might not want in your printed report. If I do a Control P here to print, you'll see the navigation bar. And took me a while to figure out how to track this down, because I can do some inspection of the page, but unfortunately the inspection of this page doesn't reveal a whole lot. But what I did look for was I was trying to figure out, okay, where is this menu? How do I track this down so that I can get this out of here? And can I get it out of here? And what I ended up having to do is I had to resize my screen. Then I could inspect that item and I could find it here. And if I was finding basically this whole navigation bar up at the top is what I wanted to get out of the printout. And so this is the page that I reference, and then I think I refined this. Can't remember if I refined it to navbar or the navbar header class. Let me go look at that. But right down here, I have a line. So here it's referencing the page itself. And then, yeah, I'm just grabbing the navbar. I'm going by the navbar class. So I'm taking that whole element that encompasses all of that. And I'm adding a class called hidden-print to that. So if there's something in your printout that you don't want to show, if you add that class to it, hidden-print, it will keep it from showing up. So now let me just refresh this page, and it's going to rerun this report. Now, if I do Control P, the nav bar doesn't show up in there. So if you don't want the title or the notes to show up, you could probably find those as well and add that class. So this works for other things that you might print from Koha, not just reports. But that's a nice, easy tip to add that class to elements.
Actually, we did a video once before about the HTML function that I use to make those notes for reports appear as to be able to use HTML markup in those notes.
Mm-hmm.
We did that quite a long time ago. That was one of our first videos, I think.
Yeah.
And since I use that, I use the hidden print whenever I create those HTML notes. I add that class to those notes so that they don't appear in the printouts of anything that I use HTML in the notes for. So.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that gets quite built up if you've got a lot of HTML in there.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times I'll have instructions for how to run a report in the notes. And when you're printing those off, you don't need the instructions at that point. So having those not print seems like a no-brainer to me.
So, okay, we've got one more thing that we can do here. And you may notice if I go to let me go back here. I load the reports. You may notice that the table doesn't show up right away.
Why is that?
There's a slight delay there because when this page is being built, this is another annoyance of mine that I've worked around. These pages that have these tabs up at the top, when the page initially loads, and this is bugged me from the get-go when we got into Koha. The tabs that you have up at the top are really nice. They're neat and functional. But when the page loads, it doesn't initially look like this. You'll notice that it loads with a long list of these names, like a bulleted report, like
The links are all list items, so they show up like list.
They're list items that are just listed one row after another, and then the page takes that and turns them into tabs. So there's a little bit of ungraceful modification to the page, and that drives me nuts. It's like, just show it to me when it's done. So what I've done is I've done a couple things. I've gone into CSS, and I've, on the pages that do those tabs, I've made reference to 3 different pages so far. And here is the, this is the one referring to this particular page. And here is that table, the tabs. So here's the page, here's the tabs, and I tell it to not display. So in itself, you don't want to do this CSS by itself. Otherwise, you're just going to cripple the page and you're never going to get the table.
Right.
But it's CSS is loaded or is touched very fast. So you never see that list. It hides it cleanly. And then the next part is in jQuery. You want to add a line where it reveals it, basically puts the display setting right back on that. The nice thing about that is by the time it gets to the jQuery, that, you know, your custom jQuery, that other stuff where it has loaded that list and then modified it to tabs is already done. So that process has already been completed. So by the time it gets to jQuery and you tell it to just display, it's already formatted and looking nice. So you don't have to put any kind of delay in here. You just simply tell it to display as block, and you're referring to the same thing. So in here, again, it's that page, and then that section, it's called tabs. Tell it to add, tell it to do the CSS display block, and when it activates that code, it shows that the tabs as they should look and not bouncing around. So I found that has worked very well. I've used that for some tabs that are on a patron page. I've used that for an acquisitions page, and there are a few more that I can add in there. I notice in various places, but usually any place that has tabs, I'm going to put that delay in there so that it shows cleanly and doesn't bounce around. You know, when I get to a page, you know, I start fixating on certain things, and it's like, then it moves, and it's like, that's annoying. Drives me nuts. So that is it for today. And I will.
Those are pretty cool. I like the last one. We have, since we have 800 reports and like 70 tabs, I think I'm going to add that just to, because it does bother me too. For me, we've got so many tabs, you can't even see the report names for like 5 seconds after you load the page.
And
so,
you know, like I said, there is that delay, but at least you're not fixating on something and then having to reorient yourself again.
Yeah.
So, so 3 different hacks, quick hacks for today for reports, and possibly some other pages as well. And I will have links for those in this video, and also on the page on koha-US with the videos. So check those out. And as always, let us know what you think. Make sure you comment on YouTube on our video, and let us know what you think of our videos and the tips that we share. But until we meet again,
see you later.